Kenyans get prompt and straight answers this time round. Plans are already underway to bury the former Minister for Justice, who has been described by those from his rural home as a good neighbor. And once again, the country goes to sleep with lingering questions about the security status of the nation as gangs brazenly raided 3 villages in Bungoma County, sending over 100 residents to hospital. And not to be a down, another gang in Mombasa hacked another police officer nearly to death as attacks continue against police officers at the coast. Just what is going on? Well, these and more stories are lined up for you tonight, but first, let's take a look at our top stories.
We have set a primary committee that will coordinate other committees now, work very closely with the family.
Special CID team to take over probe into Mutula's death.
Sasa wakati wanapomoa na wenyewe wanapika nduru. Sasa wakati wa kupika nduru, sasa ati jirani mnakimbia, yule anafika huko anakatwa.
Gangs unleash terror in Bungoma and Mombasa. Scramble for the remaining cabinet slots as Uhuru returns to the interview room. And will Bensouda seal the cracks emerging in cases against Uhuru and Ruto? Thank you for joining us. A special team of detectives from CID headquarters in Nairobi has taken over the investigations into the death of Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo. The officers from the homicide unit based at Mazingira building took over the probe from their colleagues in Machakos. The team led by the head of the unit, John Kariuki, will work with those from Machakos and are expected to attend tomorrow's planned post-mortem exercise on the body of Mutula. Well, sources at CID headquarters revealed the team revisited the scene where the body was found and was set to take over other samples that were collected from there. They also interviewed Mutula's workers who prepared him supper on Friday. The source also said that the CID team also took away samples of the food for testing and analysis. All this comes as the family spokesman revealed 3 committees have been formed to make the funeral arrangements.
Of course, him being part of government, there's wider consultation that needs to be done.
The right process and steps are being taken. And today, as you have been told, we have set a primary committee that will coordinate other committees now, work very closely with the family to determine, as you know, this is a family matter now, to determine the date of burial.
Away from Nairobi, we take you to Utangwa village in Boni, the late Senator Mutula Kilonzo's rural home. Our reporter Angel Katusia spent the day with Mutula's neighbors. Here's a story of a grief-stricken neighborhood.
When we arrive at Utangwa village in Boni constituency, our first stop is at AIC Utangwa Church. Late Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo contributed financially to the construction of this church, and it is here the late senator would worship when he visited his rural home. In the church, the mood is gloomy. Speaker after speaker here paying tribute to Mutula.
Tulikuwa tunampenda kabisa na tunasikitika kwa kifo chake.
We then head to his home a few meters from the church. A blanket of sober silence hangs over the late senator's home, but the scenic environment would describe late Mutula's love for nature. We are shown around the home and his memories are still fresh. For instance, this room where the late Mutula met his visitors, the national flag still hangs. We are told when he last visited the rural home a few weeks ago, he had had a cup of tea with some friends here. The walls of this room evidence of Mutula's love for the wild cat. Just behind Mutula's home, Mutula's late parents' house still stands. Both parents passed on, his late father in the year 2000 and his mother in 2004. We are told he adored his parents.
Madam,
it is a grey Sunday for residents of Utangwa village. As leaders and neighbors begin to stream into the late senator's home, they are yet to come to terms with the shocking news of sudden death.
The country might have lost a brilliant lawyer and a brave politician, but for his neighbors here in Utangwa village in Boni constituency, they've lost a man they term as simple, humble, and a friend to all.
He was very hardworking. That's one of the remarkable things we'll forever remember him for. He was a man of principle. He was very disciplined.
Tumeshangazwa sana na kifo cha Mutula. Alikuwa jirani yangu hapa karibu kwangu, ni hapa tu. Tumetupika sana. Alikuwa mtu wa maana kwetu, jirani mzuri. Hakika mimi sina maneno ya kusema. Tumepoteza sana.
Sisi tunasema tumepoteza kiongozi Mutula Kilonzo.
Tunampenda, tunamuita baba wetu wa huko Mboni. Sisi tumekosa. Sisi hatujui tutasema nini.
And in Wote, the Makueni County Governor, Professor Kivutha Kibwana, talked to KTN about his days as Mutula Kilonzo's classmate, saying the senator will be dearly missed.
We shall miss him. I went to secondary school with Mutula, so it is somebody I know from a long time in Machakos school.
Angel Katose, KTN, Sunday night.
And now to the security situation across the country. At least 125 people are nursing serious injuries in Bungoma County after a daring attack by a gang on 3 villages. The victims of the attack claim that the men descended on Kibabi, Kikwechi and Mukwa villages at night, indiscriminately attacking men, women and children. But ironically, they left without stealing a thing.
The attack that left 125 people in Bungoma seriously injured has shaken this otherwise peaceful county. The thought that the gang could attack children as young as 9 years and not steal a dime has baffled residents.
Ilikuwa saa 6 usiku, tukasikia nduru zinapigwa. Wakati tulisikianga nduru, ilikuanga wanaingia kwa boma kwa boma wakipomoa. Sasa wakati wanapomoa na wenyewe wanapika nduru. Sasa wakati wa kupika nduru, sasa ati jirani mnakimbia, yule anafika huko anakatwa. Yule anafika kwa jirani mwingine anakatwa. Sasa ndio wakaendelea hivyo kukata kila mmoja paka ndipo sisi tulichukuliwa tukaletwa huko.
The gang attacked 3 villages, Kibabi, Kikwechi and Mukwa, in the dead of the night, reportedly even using poison to subdue their victims.
They were globed, they were brutally handled, and most of them had fractures and a lot of trauma. Wengine macho, kuna mmoja tulipeleka Eldoret, jicho lilitobolewa with a sharp object, and eventually that eye will be lost because ilimwaga maji ya ndani yote. Wagonjwa wengi macho ziliharibiwa, hata kuna mzee mmoja naonekana acid ilimwagwa kwa macho yake na akanyweshwa ingine by force. So on the ground we received patients, emergency services zilifanywa kama kushonwa tu na kufunga, lakini wagonjwa wenye wanastahili kama maplasters, we have no facilities, hatuna hizo plaster.
Another armed group of gangsters raided Dengelwa village, but these villagers were ready for them as they lynched 2 of the 3 men and handed the 3rd to the Bungoma police officers.
Haya mambo yametokea Tana River, yametokea Baragoi, yametokea Nairobi, sasa imefika Bungoma. Hatujui ni wapi itatokea tena.
Wetangula has asked the government to launch investigations into this bizarre incident. Catherine Omwanto, KTN.
Such an unfortunate situation will stick with security, and a police officer is fighting for his life in hospital after yet another attack by a gang on a police booth in Mombasa. The incident, which occurred last night at Ferrer Town in Mombasa County, saw the gang escape with the officer's gun.
Japheth Njeru, a police officer last posted at a booth in Ferrer Town, Mombasa, is the latest casualty in yet another daring ambush on security agents at the coast. He could barely be heard through the bandages as he tried to narrate his ordeal at the hands of the attackers.
He is out of theatre, and he will continue to be under observation until further notice, until we declare him out of danger.
According to the injured officer, the gang of 5 descended on him with machetes and viciously hacked him, leaving him for dead as they escaped with his gun.
By the time his colleague came, because he started calling him as he was being attacked, he was not able to get these people. They had already escaped and they had gone with his rival.
During the ambush, Japheth Njeru was all alone at the booth since his colleague had gone to the bathroom. Confirming the incident, Kisauni OCPD Julius Wanjohi blamed the Mombasa Republican Council for the attack.
We suspect the MRC.
This is the second time the police booth is being attacked in a span of 4 months. In the first incident, the police killed 3 attackers and managed to arrest others who were later arraigned in court. Leaders from the area, amongst them Nyali Member of Parliament Awiti Bolo, have condemned the incident, saying tackling insecurity in the area is turning out to be a hard task on the police, who he says lack mobility.
Haiwezekani kamwe kumaliza insecurity kwa sababu police hawana equipment.
Wataka kutuondolea booth hapa ili wapate hizo silaha waweze kutuumiza, ama wanatakaje?
Kama askari mwenyewe amejitahidi vile ilivyo na akatumia bunduki, inamaanisha amejihama pia na silaha ambazo hapa Kisauni tunamaanisha kwamba na Ferrer Town kuna hizi small arms bado ziko mikononi mwa watu.
Area residents are calling on the government to rethink their strategy in dealing with the runaway crime in the area. At least 26 officers have been killed so far, mostly in Mombasa, Kilifi and Kwale counties. Nohotino KTN, Sunday Night Live.
Well, let's move away from the question of security to that of salaries. And the Central Organization of Trade Union Secretary General Francis Atwoli insists that members of parliament should be paid 851,000 shillings monthly. Atwoli claims that this would not necessarily mean a pay hike, but rather maintenance of their former salary. Atwoli also argues that the increment from 535,500 shillings to 851,000 shillings will not have an effect on the wage bill.
For a man who was dead set against members of parliament increasing their monthly salaries a few years back, Francis Atwoli has drastically changed his tune.
Okay, Muchai ni mpya katika bunge, apate 541. What about Dalimaso Otieno, who was earning 851 and arudishwa 540?
And this is the basis of Atwoli's argument, that it is against the law to reduce anyone's salary, even a member of parliament. And the Salaries and Remuneration Commission will be setting a bad precedent for private companies which could do the same to their employees. The Kotu Secretary General used the Central Organization of Trade Unions Prayer Day to hit out at the Salaries and Remuneration Commission members, especially the chair, Sarah Serem.
Corruption is bad! Akachukuliwa kwa mlango wa mbele, anasema anaenda kutengeneza mishahara ya wabunge, mishahara ya civil servants, mishahara ya state officers. Hiyo position anakalia katiba sisi ndio tulileta. And we can go for a referendum.
When it was the Permanent Secretary Beatrice Kitui's turn to talk, she talked of pay commensurate to service delivery.
Hii debate ya mishahara isiwe tu ni debate ya mishahara, bali iwe ni debate ya mishahara pamoja na ukuzaji wa mali, yani productivity.
The Salaries and Remuneration Commission has been forced to soften their stance over the new pay for legislators as each side flexed their muscles on the new proposed figure of 535,000 shillings. The government will grant 1.7 billion shillings to the 349 members of the National Assembly to enable them to purchase state-of-the-art vehicles. Catherine Omwando, KTN.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto are expected to name the remaining 2 cabinet secretary nominees on Tuesday. The 2 leaders will tomorrow embark on interviews for the remaining dockets. Well, with disquiet over the issue of regional representation, the 2 leaders may be compelled to pick nominees from regions that have not so far benefited from the nominations. KTN's Rita Tindina now reports on the intrigues surrounding the remaining slots.
The top 2 leaders in the Jubilee government are reaching out to Western Kenya, even as they finalize with the last 2 nominees in their list of cabinet secretaries. Although many expect the 2 cabinet slots to go either to the Maasai community or to Western Kenya, there are still many plum jobs to be shared among those who will be given ambassadorial postings and the positions of principal secretaries, expected to be more than double the number of cabinet secretaries.
Tutashirikiana pamoja. Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi ni rafiki yetu na tutatembea pamoja ili kuhakikisha kwamba tunajenga Kenya.
The 2 remaining slots are the powerful interior and coordination of national government portfolio, as well as the labor, social security and services docket. And so come Monday, the leaders will pick up from where they left on Thursday as they grapple with the question of who will fill the slots. Already, some are crying foul over the issue of regional representation.
Nyinyi watu yangu mmesikia mtu yenu akisomwa huko? Tunasikia bado nafasi 2. Sitaki kusema mambo mengi hapa sasa kwa sababu labda hizo 2 wamewekea sisi.
But speaking at the occasion of the Thanksgiving ceremony for the Vihiga Senator George Haniri, Baringo County Senator Gideon Moi told Western Kenya not to focus so much on the few cabinet slots.
You know, prerogative is to the president. Sindio? Sio ni sheria. Si ni sheria. Wakati kwa kizungu wanasemanga to the winner belongs the spoils.
The Central Region already has 3 nominees to the cabinet. Rift Valley has 4, Western and the Coast have 1 each. Speaking in Migori County, Deputy President William Ruto told residents of Nyanza not to feel orphaned or left out.
Serikali itafanya kazi na viongozi wote bila ya kujali chama chao, na tutafanya kazi na kuwatumikia wananchi wote bila ubaguzi, kwa sababu Kenya ni moja na serikali ni moja.
In the past, presidents simply created as many cabinet portfolios as necessary to reward all their allies. The constitution set the cabinet limit at 22 slots, and the president has said his will be a lean cabinet of just 18. Rita Tinina, KTN.
Well, KTN Sunday Night takes a short break now, but on the other side of this break, we'll be telling you what the spate of insecurity has done to residents of Eldoret. Stay with us.